Hello world, it's me again. It's the Don, the Senator of Smooth and Rude, coming to you live from the 7-5. Why? Cause we global, baby. Yeah. This is another early morning, late night live stream. But this the Mansion in the Sky podcast where we build a lamb while we drive it. And that's why we strive to become envious, which is unconquerable and influential in all areas of our lives. Our focus here at the mansion is to learn lessons from current events, either global or local, and apply it. And also staying in the mix about technology and health in a cold, calculated, and never so changing world. So welcome to the home of the anti-hero. I got my coffee. I got my smokes. And let me give you a Don ism before we go into the word of the day and then go into the topics. Well, first, let me tell you about the topics that we're going to be talking about today. So, today we're going to be talking about the NFL, the Shield, how they are mandating that every team must hire a minority and or female offensive coach on the staff. Then we're going to talk about employees who steal from their companies, but more so primarily a Yale employee who admitted to stealing $40 million worth of equipment from the university. And then we're going to close it out, of course, with my favorites, the technology segment, talking about cookies, web tracking, things to look out for while you're surfing on the net, and going into it a little bit on how to protect yourself from the viciousness that happens online, because this is where we're going. This is what we do. We build a lamb while we drive it. So the Donism for the day is at the beginning of this year, I was having a conversation with a Spanish brother that I worked with at the time. He don't work there no more. He watch all my Instagram stories, and I don't care if he see this, because honestly, that conversation was so classless. That energy was so itchy. I could have did without that. And to me, the level of disrespect that conversation had was outlandish. But anyways, I don't remember the particulars of the conversation, but it went something along the lines of, "Hey, what's going on, brother?" This is me saying to him, "Hey, what's going on, brother? Haven't seen you in a while. Um, Dang, I forgot you still worked here. What you got going on?" Him, nothing too much, just traveling, doing my thing, whatever, you know, just setting up my stepping stones to make my plunge into the next move. Cool, that's what's up. So then he proceeded to ask me another question. So as or after, or no. As I'm getting ready to answer this question, the man proceeds to not only answer the question, but talk over me while I'm trying to answer the question. And at that moment, my brain just clicked. I said, man, this man has so much respect for me that you gonna sit here and ask me a question, answer it while talking over me while I'm answering the question that you asked me. I said, man, this is what I'm gonna do in this moment. I'm gonna keep on talking, and I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna match his energy. I'm gonna give him the same thing that he's giving me, cause that's disrespectful. You That's not how you have a conversation. You don't talk to people like that. See, the misconception about me is that I'm antisocial. I'm not antisocial. I'm not antisocial. Most people not even worth dealing with. I could have dealt without that conversation. But there was a reason why I had a conversation just like that, because I think that's classless. itchy at best, and disingenuous at best. And honestly, brother, you need to get your conversation skills up. The most interesting people listen. Uninteresting people, they talk too damn much. And you, brother, talk too damn much. I always thought you talked too damn much. And that conversation right there confirmed that you talk too damn much. Don't nobody like a know-it-all. And don't nobody like someone who talk too damn much. You talk too damn much. So, you want to have a conversation with me and you're asking me questions, don't talk over me because it's disrespectful. In the media world, in the radio world, the the great host, they ask questions and they get out the way and they listen. And yeah, they do have questions lined up already, but they also pull from what that person is saying and they ask that person to expand and elaborate on it. They don't overtalk that person. A bad interviewer, a bad host of a show, podcast, radio show, TV show, they overtalk their guests. And then the guest is sitting here doing what I'm doing. Bad mouthing you, bad talking you, cause that's a shitty ass conversation. Don't nobody want to have that. Man, I'm good. And we won't cool like that anyway, so it don't matter to me, man. Kick rocks. I don't care. Don't matter to me. Get your conversation skills up. Straight up. Bruh. Don't care. So moving right along. The word of the day, like I said, is disingenuous. La, 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 la. Disingenuous. Disingenuous is an adjective. And the definition of disingenuous is lacking in candor. An easier way to understand that and possibly take this word with you into your 9 to 5 8 to 4, 7 to 3 is giving a false appearance of simple frankness or just someone who appears or they just might in fact be calculating. All right. Did you know a disingenuous remark might contain some superficial truth, as in fake truth, cap, but it is delivered with the intent to deceive or to serve some hidden purpose. Yeah, I can say these words. Its base word ingenuous, derived from a Latin adjective meaning native or freeborn, can describe someone who, like a child, is innocent or lacking guile or craftiness. English speakers began frequently joining the native or negative prefix dis with ingenuous to create disingenuous during the 17th century. So that's the origin of the word. Examples of how to use disingenuous in a sentence. He has a disingenuous way of resorting to slang when he wants to make a big point, but is afraid of sounding pretentious. Unity is at best an ideal, at worst a disingenuous political slogan. Her recent expressions of concern are self-serving and disingenuous. And that Spanish brother that I was having that conversation with, who asked me a question and proceeded to talk over me and answer the question as I was answering it, and I was still talking while you was talking, because, bruh, get your conversation skills up or don't talk to me at all, because who are you? You ain't better than me. Shit, you ain't better than me. I tell you that. You can't do what I do. Don't talk to me if you gonna talk over me. I don't got time for that, because I will walk away from you. And before I walk away from you, I will look at you like you got dementia and you're brain dead. Disingenuous at best. Itchy. So, moving into the first topic. The NFL adjusts. This is coming to us from TMZ.com. The NFL adjusts league rules. Teams must hire female or minority offensive coaches. This article came out 2 days ago. The NFL is now requiring all 32 of its teams to hire either a minority or a female coach to their offensive staffs, mandating that the new assistant work closely with teams' current head coaches. The league announced the rule change on Monday, explaining it wants the new assistants on the offensive side of the ball because it believes owners and GMs have trended toward hiring new head coaches from offensive backgrounds as opposed to defensive ones. The belief, according to a statement from the league, is that getting more minorities and women into significant positions on offensive staffs could then lead to more minority and female head coaching hires. Better be the best. In recent years, head coaches have predominantly had offensive backgrounds. The league said Monday, "We believe this resolution will assist greatly in continuing to source and identify diverse candidates earlier in their career. Teams will have to make the hires at the beginning of this season, though clubs who already have a minority or a female on their offensive staff are already considered to have fulfilled the requirement." The NFL announced the new coaches' salaries will be paid for by a league-wide fund. The rule change comes less than 2 months after Roger Goodell promised the league would reevaluate its hiring process rules in the wake of Brian Flores, who accused the NFL of basically not giving the opportunity to look. I put it to you like this: y'all not wrong, as in, okay, the minorities are not wrong for fighting for what they want when it comes to the NFL. But just like where I work, a lot of people complain about, oh, well, I want to wear this. I want to look like that. The rules should be like this. But at the end of the day, you got to realize this is not your company. You want to be here. So you can say, oh, well, Don, you sound like a sellout. You sell like this. You sound like that. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to think like someone who has a business and has employees. These are my rules, and you need to follow them. I get it. It's the NFL. It's the Shield. This is the most watched TV show when it's on TV. Everybody's trying to get the NFL. Multi-billion-dollar industry, corporation, business, excuse me. But I don't care about the NFL like that. I watch it even after the concussions and everything that's happened with the NFL. But when are y'all gonna start your own league? Just like in baseball, the Negro Leagues. I don't know if the Negro Leagues was owned by brown people, minorities, but when you gonna start your own league with brown head coaches, brown quarterbacks, brown linebackers, brown safeties, brown kickers, brown punters, brown offensive linemen, brown special team coaches, brown general managers, circulated in brown dollars, that brown, tan, purple, green, indigo, lavender people in the solar system can watch. If you ain't gonna do that, it's only but so much complaining you can do. Because I don't know everything. My opinion could be off. But I think this is just kind of a way to undercut what people are really trying to do. And what people are really trying to do is get brown people to own some of these NFL teams. And I don't think the NFL wants that. They want to keep it within them. And I can't say they're wrong. I mean, I would love to own an NFL team. But at what point, when are we going to own our own? When are people going to say, hey, we have to start with 0 views, just like I'm doing with the Mansion in the Sky podcast and the D&D podcast and with the music and everything else that I'm doing in my life, whether it be school, whether it be the careers. Start from ground zero and build it. It takes time. So I'm sorry to skirt over teams must hire female and minority offensive coaches. But just from what I've heard, what I know, and what this appears to be undercutting what the real is. The real is people want brown owners. The NFL don't want that. And that's what it is. I say on your own. Like Busta Rhymes say, if I can't join the greatest, then I gotta be the greatest myself. So it's flip mode. Now this right here, this is white collar crimes, man. White collar crimes. Can't say nothing about brown people. We already know that. If you know anything about anything, first of all, you don't know nothing at all. Well, secondly, man, how many brown people even got the opportunity to pull off a crime like this? Seriously, how many people? I wouldn't have been able to pull nothing off like this. They wouldn't even gave me the opportunity to get in this position, as you'll see when we read further. Man, I tried applying at Geico twice because I used to work in a building, but I didn't work for Geico. I applied there twice. Had 2 interviews, didn't get it. I applied for ADP, got in the building, didn't get it. I'm like, you know what, man? Maybe this corporate thing is not for me. They won't hire me. I come in here, I got my suit on. I'm cleaned up. I can clean up nice when I need to. I know what it is. I can code switch with the best of them because I'm a politician in the street clothes. I got it good, understood. But maybe this is just not for me. But then you get there and you pull something like this? Disingenuous. Ungrateful. Because if I would have got that position, I would have did better with it than that. I mean, hey, if go big or go home. And what we're going to see is this lady went big. So let's go. A former Yale employee admits she stole $40 million in electronics from the university. This is coming to us through NPR.org. Written by Miss Jacqueline Diaz. Thank you, Miss Diaz. nearly a nearly decade-long scheme to steal millions of dollars of computers and iPads from Yale University School of Medicine is officially over. Former Yale administrator Jamie Patron, we just gonna call her Miss Patron, 42, pleaded guilty Monday in federal court in Hartford, Connecticut to 2 counts of wire fraud and a tax offense for her role in the plot. Wire fraud? Y'all not even charging her for stealing? What about the theft? That's wild, man. That is so crazy. So crazy, man. All right. Miss Patron's ploy started as far back as 2013 and continued well into 2021 while she worked at the university. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Connecticut. Until recently, her role was the Director of Finance and Administration for the Department of Emergency Medicine at Yale. As part of this job, Patron had the authority to make and authorize certain purchases for the department, as long as the amount was below $10,000. Starting in 2013, Patron would order or have a member of her staff order computers and other electronics, which totaled to thousands of items over the years from Yale. From Yale vendors using the Yale School of Medicine's money. So, essentially, she was big bank tank. She would then arrange to ship the stolen hardware, whose cost amounted to millions of dollars, to a business in New York in exchange for money once the electronics were resold. Those purchases included iPads and Microsoft Surface Pros. Something just clicked. Because last time I was in. Anyways. Investigators said Patron would report on documents to the school that the equipment was for specific needs at the university, like medical studies that ultimately didn't exist. She would break up the fraudulent purchases into the orders that were below $10,000 each so that she wouldn't need to get additional approval from school officials. Too damn smart for your own good. But go hard or go harder. See, look, even though this is crooked, you gotta dream bigger. You got to dream bigger. Cause her crooked ass got to a bag and ran. Cause that money make her come. Patron would ship this equipment out herself to the third-party business that would resell the equipment. It would later pay Patron by wiring funds into an account of Mazik Entertainment LLC, a company she created. And so we know this is not some horseradish. It's the website. See? I don't really like the website. I don't like this white right here. I can barely read it. She trying to make me go blind. But this company's been here since 2001. My only thing is, it doesn't say who owns the company on the site. That's the only thing that I don't like about this website. But it is what it is. And also, this is what she looks like right here. Yup. $40 million face. Crooked as all get out. Patron used this money to live the high life, buy real estate and travel, federal prosecutors say. She bought luxury cars as well. At the time of her guilty plea, she was in possession of 2 Mercedes-Benz vehicles, 2 Cadillac Escalades, a Dodge Charger, and a Range Rover. In June 2020, the high volume of equipment orders grabbed some attention at Yale, but it was eventually explained away by Patron, who said that her department was simply updating its computer equipment. Her scheme continued successfully until August 2021, when Yale officials received an anonymous tip that Patron was ordering suspiciously high volumes of computer equipment. These orders were made more suspicious by the fact that Patron was putting some of the orders in her own car. Messy. Later that month, Yale auditors dug into Patron's purchase orders and her emails, among other things, eventually turning over their findings to law enforcement. At the time of her guilty plea, she agreed to forfeit the luxury vehicles as well as 3 homes in Connecticut. A property she owns in Georgia may also be seized. Patron has also agreed to forfeit more than $500,000 that was seized from the Mazik Entertainment LLC bank account. Federal prosecutors say the loss to Yale totals approximately $40,504,200. Y'all not ambitious enough. Y'all need to become envious, because if this isn't envious, I don't know what is. She believed she was unconquerable. And I bet you she donated a lot of that money. That what rich people do. They just like she did. Create your own company or foundation and you launder that money through there. So, that article inspired me to do a little digging and see what other kind of white collar crimes occurred throughout the years of like big white collar crimes of millions of dollars that you had to have some ambition to pull off. So, we got Apple. Let's scroll. We got Apple. Former Apple employee charged with defrauding $10 million. This employee has been charged with defrauding the tech giant out of more than $10 million by taking kickbacks, stealing equipment, and laundering money. This article comes to us through abcnews.go.com, written by the Associated Press about 2 weeks ago. San Jose, California. A former Apple employee has been charged with defrauding the tech giant out of more than $10 million by taking kickbacks, stealing equipment, and laundering money. We just gonna say DP. Mr. DP, age 52, worked for 10 years as a buyer in Apple's global service supply chain department. A federal criminal case unsealed Friday alleges that he exploited his position to defraud the company in several schemes, including stealing parts and causing the company to pay for items and services it never received. See, man, this is what makes my blood boil and pisses me off. It's like I explained to you, I applied twice at Geico. Couldn't get in. I applied, got in the door for ADP. Couldn't get in. Tried to get promoted at my own job. Wouldn't promote me. And then you have people like this. Even though I respect the ambition, but I don't respect the vision. You are ambitious to go hard, but the vision was whack. That was whack. Cause it's people like us who can't get in these positions, these well-paying positions. And then you read stories like this of people who take it for granted, who abuse it. When it's like, we would have went in there and did what we need to do. We would have got to a bag and ran. And we would have made the money. You got 10 million out of them. I bet you I could have gotten a tenth of that off of staying out of trouble and doing it the way it needed to be done. I would have had to work probably 6 times as hard as you to get a tenth of that 10 million. But I bet you I could have got it. And I would have stayed out of jail. So, another cautionary tale. You gotta be grateful for when you get positions like this. You gotta be grateful, man. Like, I understand the reason why I didn't get those positions, because it wasn't for me. What I'm doing right now is what I'm supposed to be doing. What I'm going to school for is going to be the main breadwinner until the podcasting and the music decides that, hey, it's time for us to elevate. And I will know when that time comes. But for right now, I'll be known for what I'm going to school for, and then I do this on the side, even though I've been doing what I've been doing on the side all my life. And that's what I want to do with my life. My goal is that I want to be able to pay all of my bills and be comfortable and not live too extraneously. I don't think I said that all the way correct, or even use that in the correct texture, but I don't want to live too much out of my means, but I want to be able to pay all my bills off of the podcasting and the music. That to me is success. This over here is excessive and ungrateful and definitely disingenuous at best. Let's go. A court has allowed the federal government to seize 5 real estate properties and financial accounts worth about $5 million from Mr. DP, and the government is seeking to keep those assets as proceeds of crime. Mr. DP is scheduled to appear in court next Thursday to answer to charges of engaging in a conspiracy to commit fraud, money laundering, and tax evasion. It's unclear whether he has retained a lawyer. A phone number is listed for him. It was disconnected. 2 owners of vendor companies that did business with Apple have admitted to conspiring with Mr. DP to commit fraud and launder money. Sick. Like, why? Mr. DP is scheduled to make a first appearance in U.S. District Court in San Jose next week on Thursday. Fraud, money laundering, and tax evasion each carry maximum sentences of 5 to 20 years, but sentencing guidelines and judges' discretion mean most people convicted of fraud in federal court receive less than the maximum sentence. Ew. And they trying to bring you up on 3. So that sounds like 15 right there. Or maybe I say he get anywhere from 5 to 8, and the rest of that time suspended. So 15 max, about 5 to 8, and then 7 years suspended on parole or probation, excuse me. But man, come on, disingenuous, man. I could have did so much better with that. I could have did better with that position. Here's another case. Someone who stole from a company. You had a good position. I understand. We humans. We want more. We always want more. I get it. But it's like they always say, you gotta You gotta get to a bag and run. You gotta learn when to stop being so damn greedy. So, Turksbury or Toesbury woman allegedly stole 1.8 million from Ogden Flooring Company. So she worked at the company, stole the money by inflating her salary, so raising up her salary, using a company credit card and forging checks. This comes to us from Boston.com through my girl, I don't know her, Susanna Sudbarrow, earlier this month. A Toesbury woman allegedly stole a lot of money. Miss Joanne Donato, who is also known as Joanne Mara, age 47, was charged in a superseding indictment with an additional count of wire fraud and one count of filing a false tax return. In November 2021, Donato was indicted on one count of bank fraud, 2 counts of wire fraud, and 1 count of aggravated identity theft. According to the charging document, hold on, let me read that again, because I'm just reading. Hold up. She was indicted on 1 count of bank fraud, 2 counts of wire fraud, and 1 count of aggravated identity. Good God. Savage. No F's to give. According to the charging document, between December 2013 and April 2020, she been in business for 7 years, probably longer than that. Donato stole more than 1.8 million from her employer, a flooring company based in Ogden. The DA's office said that Donato accomplished this by falsely inflating her salary, using her employer's corporate credit card for personal expenses, and forging at least 2 checks to herself from her employer's checking account. To hide the scheme, she allegedly forged her employer's accounting records. Sheesh. The DA's office also said that between August 2020 through May 2021, Donato collected unemployment benefits under her real Social Security number while also working full-time for a lighting company based in Wilmington under a fake Social Security number. Sheesh. She going ham. She going in. Furthermore, Donato is being charged for tax fraud because between 2015 and 2020, Donato did not report the more than $1 million in funds she embezzled from the Ogden company, nor her wages from the Wilmington company. So they just they gonna throw the book at her as they should. From the Wilmington company on her federal income tax returns. If found guilty of the charges, Donato could face a prison sentence that would last the rest of her life, as well as multi-million-dollar fines. Yeah, federally upped. Man, selfish, stingy, man. Come on, got to do better. Tighten up, man. Nah, we're not. A's Fix of Entertainment. We're not doing that. All right. And to round out this segment, we're gonna get into this last article. The point, and the reason I'm bringing this up is that it's a cold, calculated world out here. But you can get this money. You can get this money. We gonna get this money. Gotta put a plan into play and see it all the way through. And you don't get to steal from people and think that you just gonna rob and get off scot-free. Nah, nobody likes a thief. Thieves and liars. Can't trust them. So, gotta do better. And also on top of that, these people are getting positions that other people would have, I wouldn't even say killed for, but might have kicked you in the back of your kneecap and watched you collapse on the goddamn ground for it. And maybe stole off on you a couple times for that. And y'all took it and y'all abused it. I respect the ambition, but your vision is whack. It's whack. And I respect the risk taking, but I'm going to always think from if that was my company. If my company, let's say, was a digital content company and we built it up for years, let's say a decade, and now we're a multi-million dollar corporation, but online. And you some way, somehow figure out how to embezzle hundreds of thousands of dollars from our company. I'm throwing the book at you. I want you to go under. I worked hard for this. I built it up. I hired the employees that I believed had my company's best interest in mind. Because I had you guys' best interest in mind. And you pulled this on me. You steal from me. You undermine my hard work. Disingenuous at best. They get what they deserve. Do the crime, do the time. And that's just the nature of the beast. It's nothing more, nothing less. Last article. This is coming to us through IGN.com. This was written by Miss Taylor Lyles. And this came out in 2021. New report reveals how a former Microsoft employee stole $10 million in Xbox gift cards. The former engineer found a bug that would change his life. So Microsoft has been the victim of a digital heist orchestrated by a former employee at the company. This employee will go on to steal millions in the form of gift cards used to redeem items sold on the Microsoft Store. This guy, we're going to call him Mr. VK, a former software engineer at Microsoft hired in 2016, was testing the company's e-commerce infrastructure. Part of Mr. VK's duties included him making purchases using fake accounts to see if there were any bugs and glitches in the company's online payment system. During his employment at Microsoft, Mr. VK discovered a glitch that generated a redeemable 25-digit code every time he performed a fake transaction for a Microsoft gift card. This glitch allowed Mr. VK to generate an endless amount of codes that he could use on Microsoft's digital storefront to purchase various digital items such as games available on the Xbox Store. Mr. VK failed to tell his manager or any higher-ups at Microsoft about the glitch and decided to use this exploit to sell newly generated codes to a third-party website at a discounted rate with savings up to 55% off. Additionally, he used test email accounts that were associated with his colleagues to do so. Sick. I'll comment on that after I'm done. As he was transferring the money, I'm already 40 minutes in. As he was also transferring the money he made into his bank account, he would also use a Bitcoin mixing service to try and conceal the origins of how he attained the funds. Within 7 months, Mr. VK transferred roughly $2.8 million in Bitcoin into his bank and invested in investment accounts. He also filed fake tax forms claiming the Bitcoin he received as a gift from a relative. Eventually, Microsoft figured out what VK was up to, and they were fired in June 2018. In February 2020, VK was convicted of 18 felonies and also faces deportation back to Ukraine. He will have to pay $8.3 million in damages and is currently in prison and slated to be released in March 2027, so 5 years from now. Hey, man. Oh, yeah, but I just want to quickly comment on where is it? The part where he took, come on, man. Like, I've experienced this so much. Nobody's took my email accounts and done some horseradish like that. But being thrown under the bus. When you think these people care about you, they don't. When you got some good ones around you, you keep them. But don't it? You're better off assuming that people don't care about you. And even if they act like they do, you still gotta keep it 300 like Chief Keef say, and still assume that they don't care about you. You hear anything, hey, you got to say something. But this right here, disingenuous at best. Sick. Sick, man. I'm telling you, people will throw your ass under the bus and won't even bat an eyelash. But now look at you. Look at you. How you gonna pay that back? I respect the ambition. I respect the risk taking, but your vision is whack. You could have did better, bro. You could have did 10 times better than that. Now, I don't want to run too long. I want to keep this within an hour. So I'll just do the cookies, and then I'll run the other parts. I might just make this a series off of not this website. This is VPNs where not this website, but this website right here. I think I'll make it a series because I like this website. I like their breakdowns, and they give detailed descriptions. Well, I wouldn't even say they give detailed descriptions, but they do a good enough job on what these things that we want to learn really are. All right, moving on up. Hold on. It's late. My voice sounds a little scratchy. It's because it's hurting a little bit. Because I talk for a living. All right. So, are you using cookies? Then this ultimate guide is for you. Cookies, what's the definition? What are they? Cookies, or to give them their formal name, HTTP cookies are text files made up of tiny bits of data which are stored on a web browser. These tiny bits of data are used by websites to track a user's journey, enabling them to offer features that are specific to each individual user. Because of this, cookies are at the heart of a website's functionality. For example, they can be used for shopping carts on e-commerce sites. On the one hand, cookies are integral to the way the internet works, but they are also a cause for concern. I wonder why. When it comes to security and privacy risks. Of course. However, by understanding how cookies work, both day-to-day users and developers can protect themselves from the negative aspects of these tiny bits of data. Once again, for my regular audience and for the new listeners, a couple days ago, or a couple episodes ago, we did the articles, or we read and we broke down the social media finesse and all the different methods and concepts that these applications like the Instabook, the Snapgram, LinkedIn, that that they deploy, they use to keep you engaged, to sell you, to make you spend your bread. I know right now on my social medias, they trying to get me to buy these shoes. And I am going to buy them shoes. I'm definitely going to buy them shoes. But the fact that every single site that I go on, these shoes keep popping up on them, lets me know your information is getting sold every which way. Data is gold. Your information is gold. And by the time this thing is all over, we're going to learn and we're going to understand how to protect ourselves in this changing world. We don't need to be the forefronts of technology. We don't want that. We don't want those problems. We want that. We want an island, and we want a plot, a land, instead of fuck out the way. That's what we want. We want a big bank. We want some land. We want an island. We want some toys. We want some fine ass women, of all different shapes, sizes, colors. Roy G. Biv, and get the fuck out the way. That's what we want. We ain't trying to be the face of no franchise, not they franchises. So we're gonna learn how to protect ourselves, but first we need to understand what it is that we're protecting ourselves from. On the one hand, I already read that. When this isn't With this in mind, this guide provides an in-depth overview to cookies. It has been broken down into 2 usable parts. Understanding cookies. All of the basics you need to know as an everyday internet user. And then understanding cookies, a developer's guide, a more in-depth look at how cookies work with advice on how to use cookies while adhering to the laws in place. It then concludes with some technical resources for those who want to go even further into the world of cookies. Lego. Understanding cookies. Having a basic understanding of HTTP cookies is essential for every internet user, regardless of whether you're just using it for personal use or you're a web developer who's making a living from it. These basics include what purpose cookies serve and what security and privacy risks they pose. However, to give you a better overview, we thought it was worth delving into the history of cookies and where exactly the fuck they came from. So let's go. The history. In 1994, Mr. Lou Montoli developed cookies for the first time. As a Netscape communications employee, Montoli worked alongside John Giandrea. John Giandre. John Gian. Mr. John. To develop cookies into a unique solution that would help make shopping carts for e-commerce stores possible. This means the first primary usage of cookies on the internet was established. Hold on. Where am I at? This means the first primary usage of cookies on the internet was to establish, to establish whether a customer or a visitor coming to Netscape's website had already visited or not. At the start, all supported browsers accepted cookies by default, which meant hardly any end users were aware of their use or presence. However, in February of '96, this changed. When their use, purpose, and existence were revealed in a piece published by the Financial Times. Over the next few years, the media placed cookies under intense scrutiny due to the privacy risks created as they tracked visitors across the website. This resulted in the Internet Engineering Task Force, IETF, alphabet soup, being tasked with establishing a formal cookie specification Agreeing with the media's concerns, particularly trying to get my diction better. That's why I'm trying to say all of these words, but some of them is difficult. With the risk involved in third-party cookies, aka tracking cookies. The IETF tried to make it a requirement that all third-party cookies were disallowed, or they were only allowed once a user had explicitly opted into using them. That's how they get us, man, because you want to use that app, you want to use that website, you want to go buy something, but the only way you can do it is allow the cookies. If you decline, you can't use it. Horseradish. However, the industry-leading browser developers like Microsoft and Netscape didn't follow these recommendations and continued to allow tracking cookies from third parties, such as online advertisers. Today, even though the IETF's cookie specification acknowledges the use of tracking cookies and the risk they pose, it places much of the responsibility of managing this risk onto browser developers. This document grants user agents, like browsers, wide latitude to experiment with third-party cookie policies that balance the privacy and compatibility needs of their users. However, all right, I gotta go along with my punctuation up here. However, there are other legalities that have come into play with regards to cookies. We'll take a look at these later on in the guide. What is a cookie made of? For each specific user, there will be bits of data that are associated with them by cookies. For example, when you go to a website, you may be identified as user X by a cookie that's been delivered by the site. Therefore, if you leave the site but return to it later, the cookie you've been given will be used by the site to identify you as user X, who's been on the website before. At a minimum, cookies contain 2 bits of data, an identifier for a unique user and some information about this user. However, they can also contain a whole host of attributes that inform browsers what they should do with the cookie, something we'll touch on in the developer targeted part of this guide. A common working example of this is what's known as an oh my goodness, author, oh my goodness, cookie. For example, when you log into a site, a cookie may be returned that identifies your account, confirming you've successfully logged in. Then, when you interact with this website in the future, this cookie will act as confirmation that you're a user who's logged into the site. Different types of cookies. There are a number of different ways cookies can be grouped together, and below we'll look at the 4 most common. This should hopefully add to your understanding of how they are used as well as how they work. So, session cookies. These cookies are temporary and will only be stored in the memory of your browser while it's open. When it's closed, the cookie will be removed from your browser's history, and because of this, they are a lower security risk. You'll often find these cookies working within e-commerce shopping carts, controlling what a user sees on a page when they're conducting a one-off multi-page site visit, or for other storage means that are short-term. Persistent cookies. The fact that, real quick, I want to push this in here. The fact that this is so complicated and so complex and runs so deep, and my neighbors upstairs are up at 4 something in the morning and they don't do shit. Lets me know that this is, well, it just reconfirms that this is all deliberate. It's all deliberate. It's all a deliberate way to control you, sell you. The internet's free. So what do they say? When something's free, then you're what's being sold. And we being sold like a $2 hoe. And that rubs me the wrong way. And we the anti-heroes over here. We just we want our ploy of land, we want our island, and we want a big bank. And if we just so happen to be anointed a world leader, then that happens. If we just so happen to be anointed or appointed a king or a queen, then so be it. Or a ruler, or a czar, or a senator, or someone who's in a high position, then so be it. But that's not the goal. The goal is to be a free agent and live the best life that you can live. And leave something here that makes this place better than when you leave the place better than how you, or leave it better than how it was when you were here. You know, you ain't gotta be the face. You ain't gotta be the king. You ain't gotta be the queen. You don't have to be the czar. You don't have to be the pope. You don't have to be Gandhi. You don't have to be the Dalai Lama. You know, but you can still leave this place better than how it was when you was here. But this is deliberate. Deliberate ways to control you, sell you, and get your money, and keep you under the thumb of the regime. Great reset. It's a new world order. Time's running out. Moving along. Persistent cookies. These cookies are used over a much longer time period as an expiration date is tagged to them by the issuer. This means even when your browser is closed, the cookie will be stored on it. And each time you return to the website that created this cookie, or you go to a website that has a resource produced by the cookie's issuer, like an ad, this data is returned to the issuer. Persistent cookies can therefore track your browsing activity, not just on the original site where the cookie was created, but on other sites that have a resource which has been produced by the original site. For example, Facebook and Google use these kinds of mechanisms to create a user activity log across a range of different websites. So when you click Remember Me or something similar after you've logged into your online account somewhere. Oh man, I forgot all about that alarm. Hold on, let me turn that off. And we're almost done here. We're not gonna go too deep, too much deeper into this. As these, actually, what we'll do is, I think we'll finish it up. We'll finish up right here. We'll finish up on this article and then we'll close it out. As these persistent cookies are present for a longer time than session cookies and can essentially track what you're doing over more than one site, a greater security risk is posed by them. I thought this phone was dead. I'm not even gonna lie. First party cookies. These are created by a site you're visiting. First party cookies help a website carry out a number of purposes, such as allowing you to add more than one item to your online order. If you disable first party cookies, every time you added an item to your shopping cart, it would be treated as a new order, as you'd be unable to purchase more than one item in one transaction. Third party cookies. Created by a site you're not currently visiting. Third-party cookies are most commonly used to track a user who's clicked on an ad, associating them with the domain that's referred them. For example, if you're on a website and you click on an advertisement, a third-party cookie is generated to associate your traffic with the website where the advertisement was shown. Even though cookies do play a very important role in our browsing activities, there are a number of threats posed by these, especially when it comes to the invasion of privacy and the security of websites that are using them. Horseradish. The risk of cookies and what you need to watch out for. When you're using the web, when you're using where is it? When you're using the web, you will want to know what risks are presented to you by cookies, how you can view them, and how to delete them if necessary. To start with, we will look at the risk involved with cookies, which can be placed into two categories: fraud and the invasion of one's privacy. Cookie fraud. Although quite complex, it's worth familiarizing yourself with cookie fraud in case you come across a site that's exploiting users through this method. In a lot of cases, cookie fraud will either be a malicious website attacking another website by using legitimate uses as a proxy, or a legitimate user's activity being tagged with a false session ID for game tracking systems. Horseradish. Here are 4 common types of cookie fraud and what they involved. Cross-site scripting, XSS. Here, a user will receive a cookie after they've visited a malicious website. I'm not going to read too much in that. My throat's hurting. Session fixation. Cross-site request forgery attack. Cookie tossing attack. So, protecting yourself against cookie fraud. The first important thing to note is cookies aren't viruses. Even if they're malicious, they cannot execute actions on your computer because they're made up of plain text, which means you aren't protected against malicious cookies through your antivirus software. Instead, there are a couple of things you can do to prevent yourself from becoming the next cookie fraud victim. Make sure your browser is updated. A lot of cookie exploits carried out are designed to make use of an outdated browser's security holes. Avoid any sites you're not sure about. If you ever receive a warning about a site, whether it's from a search engine or your browser, Invasion of privacy. Even though cookie fraud is a concern for many people, the greater worry is the risk posed by the invasion of privacy. When you think about how many websites have a Google resource embedded in them, like Google Maps, Analytics, or AdSense, it isn't hard to work out how Google is constantly adding to its huge record of web users' cross-site activity. In fact, a lot of users feel as though the use of the information by Google to provide targeted ads is a tad creepy, to say the least. Yeah, it's hella creepy. Itchy. But more worrying still is the potential invasion of privacy that's occurring. It's going to get worse. It isn't just Google, of course. Many other web advertising platforms such as Facebook, Disqus, Rev Content, and Infolinks are trying to improve user targeting and the delivery of relevant ads by mining more and more data about each and every user. Therefore, if you're going to use the internet and you're going to let your browser accept cookies, your every move is being tracked. Protecting your online privacy. Unfortunately, there isn't a clear-cut way around accepting cookies, but there are a number of things you can do which limit how many times your privacy is invaded by cookies. Look at your browser's privacy and security settings. Firstly, open up the settings menu for your browser and find the privacy and security section. Here, you'll be able to alter your browser's cookie policies. You can be as severe as you wish. At the same time, you don't want to make it too difficult to access certain features on different websites. Use incognito or private browsing mode. The majority of modern browsers offer you the chance to browse the internet without any cookies. Therefore, when you're surfing the web, none of your existing persistent cookies will be used. And any persistent cookies created during your time online will be deleted when you close the browser. However, it's worth bearing in mind that none of your passwords will be saved in this mode, and each time you visit a website, it'll record it as your first ever visit. So you might not be able to see your favorites or features such as recommended for you. Viewing and deleting your browser stored cookies. Just go through and delete them. Zombie cookies. Hold up. All right. I'm actually not gonna finish this because my throat is hurting, and I don't want to tear it up. But I'll end on the zombie cookies. Zombie cookies. Pay close attention to zombie cookies, as these are cookies that cannot be deleted through your browser settings. They're automatically recreated every time you delete them by a script that's stored outside the memory of your browser. So this cookie will be like a bad smell and will continue to reappear. However, this doesn't necessarily mean they're a malicious form of cookie. They have legitimate uses. But because of this strange, undeletable, and somewhat questionable behavior, many privacy advocates and security experts do disapprove of them. I would too. And I know that I have some on the computer. If you do want to delete a zombie cookie, you'll need a little more patience, perseverance, and savvy Googling skills, as you'll need to find other like-minded individuals who've managed to get rid of this undeletable cookie. Essentially, you'll have to work out where the cookie recreating script is stored so you can delete this script and prevent this zombie cookie from being reborn time and time again. So, ending out this segment, once again, control, man. Control. Selling you. Knowing your every move. Cause next thing that's gonna happen is they're gonna know your every move when you're on the streets, if they don't already. Control, man. And it sucks to suck, man. It sucks to suck. It's just the more you learn, deeper you dig. It's kind of like you kind of wish you didn't know it, but it's necessary. It's necessary. Man, it's crazy world. It's crazy world. Word of the day: disingenuous. Nobody has. I'm not gonna say nobody. Most do not have your best intention at mind. With that being said, a lot of people and companies ran by people, and soon some companies are gonna be built from AI, because AI is gonna get so intelligent that it's gonna be like, hey, I'm Big Bang Tank now. And then it's AI is gonna create companies and softwares, and it's not gonna give a other uck about what humans think. And all I can say to that is disingenuous at best. Disingenuous. Sick. NFL. Another win for women. All I gotta say to that is, and minorities, is better know what you're doing. Better know what you're doing, because as a fan of the NFL, I'm tired of the game being watered down year after year after year. I loved football when I played it. I thoroughly enjoyed football. I got hurt, but I loved it. It's a man's sport. And hold on. I don't say that like, oh, women can't be involved. No. I'm saying it's a man's sport. Like, this is something that people really enjoy when it's like two gladiators in the Coliseum fighting, or gladiators in the Coliseum fighting. We enjoy it for the brutalness and the violence, and the players understand what it is. Protect the quarterbacks, protect the star players. But football is about violence and the brutalness, and we like that. We want to continue to see that. So stop watering down the game. And these women and the minorities who do get hired, please keep the integrity of the game. That's all I'm asking. I'm not against women getting opportunities. I'm not against minorities getting opportunities whatsoever. I explained to you, my opportunities, I had to produce them. I had to make my own opportunities. And it's making me feel alive. And that may have to be your path. But do not mess with the integrity of the game. That's all I'm saying. Because if that happens, I'm going to feel some type of way. And also to the people who continue to complain about the NFL and the ways that they operate. Start your own league. I will come to the games. Put a team in Norfolk. Put a so-called Negro football team in Norfolk. I will buy season tickets to that. I will buy season tickets to that. Put one in DC. Put one in New York. Put one in Atlanta. Matter of fact, make Atlanta the capital, the headquarters. Put one in Cincinnati, Columbus. Put one in LA. Put one in Vegas. Put one in Phoenix. Put one in Austin, Houston. Put one in Chicago. Where else can we put one? Put one in Richmond. Where else can we do it? Put one in Nashville. I will come see those games. I will buy season tickets to that. Where Patrick Mahomes is the star, is the face of the league. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar, Deshaun, Jalen Ramsey, Honey Badger, Amari Cooper, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel. I would pay to come see that. I would. I would watch it on TV. And honestly, I don't think while I'm alive, I will ever see that. Somebody might have the bank, the ambition, and the vision to do it. And actually do it. But I don't think I'm going to see it in my life. So my standards are and my expectations are low on that. And I told you why I think the way I think. Because I had to create my own opportunities. I tried to go work for those people. I couldn't even get the job. Maybe I wasn't qualified. Maybe I was. And they just didn't like me. Got a good understood. But I cried for a little bit. Not literally cried, but, I was mad. Down bad a little bit. And then I just bounced back and did something different. Or just I reconfigured the way that I went about things. So, in that regard, because I think that's the real reason why they decided to switch up hit them with the switch up, is because minorities are really pushing to get one of those teams. But why not own a league and start on year one and let it grow? And then eventually get it to year 150, just like the NFL. It's just like how you have Google and then you had DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo was legit. Like, they're legit. They are really legit. And they're taking business. They may never be Google, but they're taking business. Miss Patron shot over there at Yale. Hey, she said YOLO. YOLO. FOMO. The fear of missing out. What? She didn't miss out on nothing. Hey, I respect the ambition. I respect the risk taking. But the vision was whack. The vision was whack. You could have put that energy somewhere else. You could have did something else with that. To get $40 million about that school, and the way they were talking in that article, it don't look like she's gonna get any serious jail time now. The last article that I read in that segment about the woman who stole 1.8 million from the flooring company, she's in there for the rest of her life. So, when you get those opportunities, gotta be grateful. Gotta be grateful and do right by them. And hey, man, I get it. Unfortunately, one of the things that I never wanted to accept, but I accept it now, is that evil people, they come up in this world. Unmoral people, they really come up in this world. But you know what? The people in my circle have, they're my fuel. They're my jet fuel. And they show me every single day that there's a lane, there's a path, and hold the line. Because we good, and we in here, and we got power, and we got control. And we just like you, and you just like us. So hold the line and have something to bring to the table when it's time. So it's a cold, calculated world. But just know, good people out here making a way and out here flourishing. So don't get your silk boxes in a bunch. Don't get your G-string in a bunch, ladies. And last, HTTP cookies. Everything you do online is being tracked. Every keystroke, every biometric is sick. I'm working on protecting myself online. I really am. They want your money. They want your data. They want to know everything that you do. If you think this is fake, watch Black Mirror. Black Mirror is basically the first dose of programming to the public, letting us know that this is what the future is going to look like. Oculus VR, that's how I see shit. Cold, calculated world. Everything's deliberate. Disingenuous at best. That's just what it is. Teacher, try to unteach us. I wish I had teachers that knew about this stuff who could teach us this. But now we are the teachers. And one of them, I truly believe that I was put here to be a master teacher and to be a motherfucking rock star. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it. I'm not here to be a martyr, but I'm just here to help people who are just like me, who just need a little kick in the ass to get to where they need to get to and want to live the best life, want to live a good life, better than the life I live. So, I'm just rambling, but I'm about to get up off here. Envious ones, make sure you stay unconquerable, influential in everything that you do. Everything that you do. Don't you ever forget that. You take that with you everywhere you go. I'm envious, and people are envious. Why? Because I'm unconquerable and influential. And you don't just say that, but you believe that. You embody it. It ain't about me. It's about how you want to be living, how you should be living. You are an alchemist. You can turn nothing into something. Just do it. And there's going to be people who are going to pose like they're your friends. Forget it. You'll know who the real ones are. And you hold on to them. And you do right by them. And you reward them. But the fake ones, uck the mother uckers and tell them suck the dick from the bite. Anyways, I'm getting out of here. This the Mansion in the Sky podcast, the home of the anti-hero. This the Don. Send it to us smooth and rude. Thank you once again. I'm grateful.